Hello everyone. So we are continuing on our MLOps series, and in this video we are going to look at a tool to help us with registering our model and working with different versions. But to quickly recap, we were trying to understand why we need MLOps, and we first talked about different options where we get started from a notebook, write our initial code in notebook, and slowly when we mature we may move into Python modules to track our data, our experiments and others. Finally, you may reach a stage where it is difficult to do everything inside a Python project, right? That's where you may move into MLOps, where you modelize your data part separately, your experiments separately, and have a overall operations flow, right? So there were two challenges we were trying to understand in this series. One is the data part. How do you make sure your data, whenever you want to make new features or whenever you want to do new different experiments like feature engineering, how can we make it easy so that the changes are minimal and you can easily understand where you have to make changes. So for that we learned about a tool called Airflow, and the video is there. The previous video was talking about that. Now in this video we're going to specifically focus on MLFlow, which is the tool which will help us with the second problem. That is, every time you run an experiment you will create different models and it may overwrite your experiments, right? So you want a way to track your experiments without overriding and know what is different in each experiments, and also finally have a registry where you can store them. Okay, so with that, let's dive into MLFlow. So MLFlow is from Databricks. It's an open source project. It has the feasibility of creating experiments, and we will look at that soon. But it's a wonderful UI where you can have separate experiments for each of your models, and it also provides options for you to give tags and parameters so that you can specify what is unique with your specific run of your experiment. And final, like I was saying, there is a registry where you will see the list of models and even version control them. So let's take a quick look at MLFlow. So this is their official website, and if you can see here, right, you can tune your hyperparameters and have different tags for them, tracking your experiments, finally having a registry, and even helps us with the deployment. So it's even used for Gen AI, I believe, but here we're just taking a simple example of our Titanic data set, and let us see our code. So if you remember in our first talk, we were saying about a basic experiment where you are not doing much data transformation. You are taking the Titanic data set, dropping few of the columns which are string and you don't know how to process, and doing some encoding, and finally you're splitting your data into test as well as test data as well as validation data. So here is the new change. I have MLFlow running locally on 5000 port, and I have an experiment called Titanic. So first we have to register that. So this is the part where you set your tracking URI as well as your experiment, and it also provides a very good feature called auto logging, wherein you don't have to remember what all things you have to specify about your particular run. So when you are getting started, you could definitely try auto logging. So once you have set it up, it will go and add new entries whenever you create a new run. So for example, if you take this run, see all the parameters it has automatically logged. It is giving the duration, lot of details, who ran it, what is the algorithm we are using, and you could even add your own tags, right? So now finally when you run your machine learning training part, you would start it as a MLFlow start run, and what it will do is once it has completed the training, it will also log some of these details into your MLFlow registry. So let's do a quick run. So the same data set, we are setting it up. Here it is connecting to the MLFlow experiment, and finally it is running our random forest classifier algorithm. So if we go back here, you will see details about our latest run. It was run 18 seconds ago and they gave a name for it. And now imagine you decide this is your final best version of Titanic experiment. So you can always go and move it into the model spot. So add it as a model. So once you are here, you can see all the models which you have decided you are going to use it in your actual production. So two of the runs I have tagged it as models. So now I could use this URI later to fetch this model and use it in my different runs, right, or my latest production. Now that's a brief about MLFlow. In our next video, we are going to combine all of this and make the entire Titanic data set training, data cleaning, as well as experiment tracking, and even posting the data back to Kaggle as an entire MLOps workflow. Okay, see you there. Bye bye.